Well, I know it's hard to believe, but here we are, already in Module 8. We've covered a lot of ground in the first 7 weeks of the term, and I do hope you have found the material we've covered interesting. I know I have, and I've enjoyed the discussions we've had thus far. This week, we turn our attention from suicide, which was our topic last week, to consideration of sexual diversity. And when we hear the word sexual diversity, we tend to think of homosexuality, but that certainly is part of it, but it's only one small part of sexual diversity. There are other elements we'll consider this week as well. We will look at homosexuality and bisexuality, but we'll look at forms of behavior that take place within those different communities, within the homosexual, bisexual, and heterosexual community. For instance, we will look at sadism. We'll look a little bit at bondage. Those are forms of sexual interest and behavior that can occur in any of those three base communities. We'll also have an opportunity to look at the historical development of roles and responsibilities with regard to sex and gender. And in distinguishing between sex and gender, what I mean is when we talk about sex, we're normally talking about biological inclinations, biologically based preferences. Gender has more to do with socially structured factors regarding what we do, how we behave, what we think about sexuality. So, for instance, it has long been thought that women had no place in the political arena and had a very limited place in the workplace. Well, that idea has been largely upended. We just had a woman run for president for one of the major parties, and women occupy positions as CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. They serve in the military in combat roles. They're firefighters. They're law enforcement officials. They work construction. They basically penetrated into all areas of the workplace that have long been sort of off limits to them. So we'll look a little bit at that, and we'll also look at some double standards related to sex and gender. Double standards that still persist. In our discussion, we'll have an opportunity to consider the biological basis for sex versus the social and cultural influences that determine what we do, what we think about ourselves, how we behave with regard to sexuality. And I think you're going to find that that material interesting, and I hope you find the discussion we have of that material interesting as well. One other thing I want to mention is that this week you also have the opportunity to do an optional essay to add additional points. And it doesn't get factored in terms of averaged in. It's whatever points you earn on that essay get added to your total points. So for some of you, I think it's worth considering doing it. And I hope some of you will do it. And I think the essay assignment that I've provided is an interesting assignment. So anyway, for those of you who are interested in doing it, please do it. If you have any questions about that, as always, don't hesitate to send them to me, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. I want everyone who does do this assignment to do a nice job on it. So that's it for this week. One more week after this to go, and we'll be done. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions, and have a great week. I look forward to interacting with you on the discussion board.